Namaskar, good afternoon, and welcome to this special briefing on the visit of the President of the Republic of Korea to India. We just concluded the delegation level talks, which was followed by CEO's roundtable to brief you on the visit and also on the talks which were held between the Prime Minister and the President of Korea. I have with me Secretary East, very familiar face to all of you, Srimati Preeti Saran. I also have our Ambassador to Republic of Korea, Vikram Doraiswamy, and Joint Secretary East Asia, Pranay Verma. Ma'am, we can start with opening remarks by you, and then we will take some questions after that. Thank you. The floor is yours, ma'am.
Thank you, Ravish, and good afternoon, dear friends, and thank you for kindly joining us for this briefing, special briefing on President Moon Jae-in's visit to India. As you know, he arrived 2 days back on 8th, and he'll leave tomorrow. Today was the main engagement day. President Moon Jae-in of Republic of Korea. This is his first state visit, and he'll be accompanied. He has been accompanied by the First Lady, Mrs. Kim Jung-suk, and senior ministers of his cabinet, which includes the Foreign Minister, the Trade Minister, and the Minister for Small and Medium Enterprises and Startups. And there are other senior officials and advisors also accompanying the President, as well as a large business delegation. As I mentioned, President Moon arrived in New Delhi on Sunday, July 8th. He was received by our Minister of State for External Affairs, General V.K. Singh. And then straight from the airport, he went and visited the Akshardham temple. Yesterday morning, our External Affairs Minister paid a courtesy call on President Moon. This is customary. And in the afternoon, President Moon, our Prime Minister, joined President Moon on a visit to the Gandhi Smriti. This is the first time that our Prime Minister has accompanied any visiting dignitary to the Gandhi Smriti. And after that, both leaders then went together, in fact drove together, and then took the metro, reached Noida, where the Samsung factory, there's a new manufacturing facility that has been established in Noida, and the two leaders then inaugurated that and participated in the launch of the new Samsung factory. This is perhaps the largest mobile phone manufacturing plant for Samsung anywhere in the world, and it is a fine example of Republic of Korean companies joining our flagship Make in India program. Today is the main engagement day, and it started with the usual ceremonial welcome, the very grand, impressive ceremonial welcome, the forecourt ceremony at the Rashtrapati Bhavan. Rashtrapati Ji and First Lady were there, as was our Prime Minister. Prime Minister then hosted President Moon for restricted level talks, followed by delegation level talks at Hyderabad House, and then hosted a banquet in his honor. Before that, of course, there were statements made to the media, and these were preceded by exchange of agreements. So in total, 11 agreements have been signed, and 4 were exchanged in the presence of the dignitaries, and both the leaders jointly addressed the media following the exchange of agreements. Considering the very significance of economic engagement in our relations, interaction with the business community was again a very important component. Yesterday, the Korea-India Business Council Forum held its meeting, and today they presented, today the CEO's roundtable. This took place immediately after Prime Minister's banquet lunch. Yesterday, of course, Prime Minister Moon had addressed the Korea-India Business Forum, and today they jointly, the two leaders, heard the CEOs of the roundtable, which comprises of more than
24, about 12 per side.
12 from each side, CEOs from both sides. And so we've just concluded that and coming here for this briefing. This evening, our President will host a banquet in honor of the visiting dignitary and his delegation at Rashtrapati Bhavan. And of course, tomorrow, President Moon leaves India. The talks between so I'll come to the more substantive part. This was just the program element. The talks between our Prime Minister and President Moon were very positive, very constructive, and forward-looking. Both leaders noted their very deep optimism in the future of our bilateral relationship and appreciated each other's roles in peace, stability, and prosperity of their region. President Moon briefed Prime Minister on the recent developments that have taken place in the Korean Peninsula. And Prime Minister elaborated on India's vision of the Indo-Pacific, which was recently articulated by him in his Shangri-La speech in Singapore. The broad contours of the discussions have been captured in Prime Minister's media statement, which is available on our website, along with a vision document that was also adopted by the two leaders. And so both are available to you, as are the details of all the agreements. I presume, Ravish, those are up as well. So those gives you an idea about the content of the basic discussions and the thrust of our relationship. It also reflects the shared desire to progress India-Korean relations in diverse sectors, as well as our shared views on regional and international issues of common interest. The list of other agreements that were concluded during the visit has also been uploaded on our MEA website, and the documents were signed covering diverse areas such as trade engagement, as well as cooperation in railways, in advancing cooperation in science and technology, in biotechnology, in telecommunications, in small and medium enterprise sector, in culture and people-to-people exchanges. Our Prime Minister announced during his press interaction that, and you would have seen the exchange, an early harvest package for an upgraded comprehensive economic partnership agreement, which is under discussions with the Korean side, which is a very important achievement, showcasing the commitment on both sides for liberalizing trade as an important priority, particularly as there is recognition from both sides that in spite of a $20 billion bilateral trade and more than $6.8 billion Korean investments in India, I think both are well below potential, and that there is a lot that we can do to improve this. And so therefore they remain a priority item. And so these, there are complementarities in our, in the way we trade and invest in each other's countries. And so we see an immense potential there. In addition, an agreement on future strategy group, which is significant as it prepares the two countries to reap the dividends of a fourth industrial revolution through cooperation in new and cutting-edge technologies, such as Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, etc. The relationship between India and Korea has witnessed a new momentum since our Prime Minister visited Korea in 2015, when we upgraded our relationship to a special strategic partnership. We see a strong partnership with Korea as a logical conclusion of our Act East policy. And this combines exceedingly well with President Moon's new South strategy, as he called it. In fact, stressed that our Act East policy combines very well with their new South strategy, which includes engagement, of course, with India and with other countries in the region. Our relations have further strengthened following inauguration of President Moon's administration in May last year. Of course, Prime Minister had met President Moon soon after his elections last year at the G20 summit in Hamburg. I mentioned to you about this new southern strategy, where ROK is expanding its outreach to countries outside their immediate region, and India forms a very important part of this outreach, and this is what President Moon repeatedly stressed in his interactions with our Prime Minister. Underlining this emphasis on India, President Moon sent a very special envoy to India last June, soon after he was elected, which was the first such envoy from their side in their bilateral relationship. And thereafter, of course, I've mentioned that they met in Hamburg. Today's talks covered a wide range of areas of bilateral, regional, and global issues of shared interest, highlighting the synergy between the two sides for deepening of relations, and have added a new dimension to our special strategic partnership. So I'll stop here and be happy to take questions.
Thank you, ma'am. We have uploaded the vision statement as well as the list of MOUs on our website. And we will also share this statement which Secretary just read out in the group as well. Now we have time for some questions. Ranjit ji and Venkat. Ramanand.
Any discussion on expanding defense and civil nuclear cooperation? India and South Korea have already signed civil nuclear cooperation agreement.
Yes, ma'am. India and South Korea have already signed a civil nuclear cooperation agreement.
Any discussion on expanding defense and civil nuclear cooperation? India and South Korea have already signed civil nuclear cooperation agreement.
Venkatji.
How confident is the South Korean president about the denuclearization of North Korea and the ongoing meetings between Mr. Trump and the North Korean leader? Thanks.
Could you please name some of the CEOs who took part in today's dialogue from both sides?
So I'll answer the first two questions and maybe request our ambassador Vikram Doraiswamy to share the names of the CEOs on both sides who participated in the roundtable. So as far as defense and civil nuclear cooperation agreements are concerned, yes, there were specific discussions on defense cooperation in particular. Because the point that was made by President Moon was that while there is a very strong economic content, in spite of being well below potential, he did see that given our special strategic partnership, we should work together on defense and strategic issues. There has already some joint ventures, discussions, trade and investment taking place from the Korean side in our defense industries production. Our Prime Minister pointed out that this is one of the important elements of our Make India program, and we have invited Korean companies to participate in defense production in particular as part of Make in India program, given the fact that India itself is a huge market, and that there are complementarities of skilled workforce that is available, affordable skilled workforce available in India, a huge captive market in India, and technology and investment and capital coming out of Korea, where we see a perfect fit. And it was definitely raised, and we hope to take that forward. On the question of denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula, yes, President Moon did brief our Prime Minister on the current state of affairs, including the two summits that he held with Chairman Kim from DPRK, as well as other summits that have taken place. He said he was very optimistic, that it was moving in the right direction, but that, of course, there were challenges in the whole process, but overall his tone was very optimistic. There was no specific discussion on that one. Vikram, can you just share the details of the CEOs? Thank you.
The CEO forum was headed by Rashesh Shah on our side, who's the chairman of FICCI. He's also the chairman of the Edelweiss Group. On other major names on our side, Anand Mahindra, who has a major investment in Korea. Mahindra Group has invested in the purchase of Sangyong Automotive. Tulsi Tanti, Anil Ambani, Rohit Relan, Siddharth Birla, Bank of Baroda chairman Jaikumar, among the leading lights. On the Korean side, the Korean co-chair is the chairman of the Korean Chamber of Commerce and Industry and the former chairman of the Doosan Group, Park Kyung-man. It included the vice chairman of Samsung Electronics, Mr. Yoon. It included the vice chairman of Hyundai Motor Group, Mr. Chung. It included the chairman of the Korea Kookmin Bank, KB Bank, which is opening an office in Gurgaon very soon. His name is also Yoon. It included the chairman of the vice chairman of Hanwha Defense Systems, which has, as Secretary was saying, a joint venture with L&T to produce the Vajra self-propelled 155mm artillery gun system. Korean, it's called K9, the K9 Thunder, which essentially is the 150 pieces are being ordered by the Indian Army. So it's the largest big defense deal between India and Korea, worth about $870 million. So this is the larger framework of Korean and Indian CEOs who were present. If I might just on an additional point, on the on the Inter-Korean summit, President Moon had one very interesting line. He said there will be bumps and bruises on the road, but I'm confident of the outcome. So that summarizes his view on the Inter-Korean dialogue. President Moon said this.
I will take the next round of 3 questions. Smita?
Smita Sharma from the Tribune. Prime Minister, in his media remarks, he said that, of course, proliferation linkages are of concern to India, that India is a stakeholder. It would like to play any role possible in reducing tensions and also increase deliberations. I'm just trying to understand if this is in the context of proliferation talks or is it in the context of the Korean Peninsula talks itself? What exactly does India have in mind when it says it will play an increased role? And did specifically the proliferation linkages from Pakistan come up for discussions, or is that something that only Delhi sort of pushes through? It's not really something that's mentioned by the other players at this point in time when you talk of proliferation in this area.
Suhasini?
We see from the vision statement as well that India and South Korea are considering tripartite partnerships for Afghanistan. The question, are these at any specific level? With the Chinese one, they discussed it, it was made much of, and at the end of the day, we asked what was going to come out of it, and they said it'll be capacity building, as in training of capacity jointly by India and China and Afghanistan. So I want to get a sense of, is this going to be something that is substantial, involves investment, or is it just that?
उसी से रिलेटेड है, पूछिए गौरव।
कोरिया से नहीं है, दूसरा है।
नहीं, कोरिया से, अरे यार आप, ये सिर्फ कोरियन विजिट के ऊपर है।
मैडम, भारत और रिपब्लिक ऑफ कोरिया के संबंधों को एक सांस्कृतिक आयाम देती है राजकुमारी सूर्य रत्ना की कहानी। मैं जानना चाहूँगा क्या उससे मुतल्लिक कोई समझौता हुआ है, उसके बारे में कौन सी जानकारी है?
So I'll just reply to the three questions that have been raised. First is about the proliferation linkages of what is of concern in the Korean Peninsula and its linkages to South Asia. These linkages are well known, universally acknowledged. I don't think one country alone is pushing for it. Those are well known and acknowledged, and therefore it's known to all. As far as increased role for India is concerned, it's just that India has, in the past as well, contributed, you would recall, in 1950s as well. India had played a very important role. India has, over the years, maintained diplomatic good relations with both DPRK as well as ROK. And India today is seen as an important player. And so there was definitely a mention by President Moon himself that they feel that first that they would like to engage with India at the same plane as they engage with some of their other important strategic partners. And in that context, they foresee a positive role that India can play. And we said that, yes, if there's anything we could do to help in providing peace and stability in the Korean Peninsula, we'd be very happy to do that. As far as the tripartite discussions of cooperation are concerned, so Hashni, yes, there have been concrete discussions that have taken place on capacity building programs that both India and Korea would like to undertake in Afghanistan. Certainly, before they actually come into being, discussions are required, and so at present they are in a discussion stage. But there is seriousness on both sides to ensure that we are able to do trilateral, tripartite assistance programs, not just in Afghanistan, but we would also be happy to look at holding similar trilateral discussions or assistance programs, development programs, and with other partners as well. Moving on to the Surya Ratna कहानी, जो आपने पूछा कि इसकी एक तो अहमियत आप जानते ही हैं. कल प्रेसिडेंट मून ने अपने कोरियन कम्युनिटी के साथ एक रिसेप्शन किया था. उसके लिए ख़ास हमारे प्रधानमंत्री ने एक कल्चरल कंपोनेंट उनको एक तोहफ़ा दिया, यानी कि ICCR ने एक डांस प्रोग्राम तैयार किया था जो कि उस रिसेप्शन में परफॉर्म हुआ था. सो उसकी बड़ी सराहना हुई, बल्कि तारीफ़ हुई, और उन्हें ख़ास धन्यवाद दिया हमारे प्रधानमंत्री जी को कि उससे उन सब लोगों को मालूम हुआ जो बहुत ज़्यादा नहीं जानते हैं. ऑफकोर्स कोरिया में तो काफ़ी लोग जानते हैं, शायद हमारे देश में लोगों को कम मालूम है कि ये एक राजकुमारी थी जो अयोध्या में रहती थी और गई थी, माने 48 AD की कहानी है. लेकिन कोरिया में तो काफ़ी लोग मानते हैं कि दे आर इनहेरिटर्स ऑफ द प्रिंसेस. आपको मालूम है कि पिछले साल से यूपी सरकार ने एक दीपोत्सव का भी किया है. उसके तहत यूपी सरकार ने कोरियन सरकार को न्योता भी दिया है कि वो एक पार्टनर कंट्री के रूप में वहाँ आए. तो वहाँ पर दीपोत्सव में शामिल होने के अलावा एक मॉन्यूमेंट वहाँ बनाने का इरादा है, जिसमें कि वो उसको कमेमोरेट करेंगे कि जो राजकुमारी सूर्यरत्ना वहाँ से गई थी, तो उसका भी आज चर्चा हुई और राष्ट्रपति जी मून ने बल्कि कहा कि वो अपनी तरफ से एक बहुत हाई लेवल डेलीगेशन भेजेंगे, कल्चरल डेलीगेशन भेजेंगे, जो कि वहाँ पे उस दीपोत्सव में भी पार्टिसिपेट करेंगे और ये सूर्यरत्ना राजकुमारी जी का जो वो है मॉन्यूमेंट उसमें भी वहाँ पर शामिल होंगे.
Any other question? इधर.
साउथ कोरिया पॉस्को को लेकर बहुत लंबे समय से कोशिश करता रहा. इस सिलसिले में कोई बात हुई या वो चैप्टर अब क्लोज है?
तृप्ति.
Thank you, Mr. Kumar. Could you please expand upon the railway cooperation between India and Korea? What can we expect?
Elizabeth.
Could you give us any details on this early harvest agreement under SEPA? And I'm just wondering, today I think the Korean president said that there is a target to increase trade from 20 to 50 billion by 2030. And I'm just wondering how we are going to do this. Are we looking at investments? How do we do this?
So I'll answer the first and the last question, and certainly I'll ask Vikram to share more details about what is the potential in railways. As far as POSCO is concerned, no. There was no specific discussions relating to the POSCO company here. However, all the other CEOs who were present today at the round table, including the business forum yesterday, as well as in the discussions that President Moon held, I think the atmosphere was very positive. And I think there is a lot of expectation, given India's own growth rates and the kind of reforms and liberalizations that have taken place. I think the Korean companies are extremely sanguine. The existing ones are doing exceedingly well. We have agreed that there might be some issues that require discussions, whether it's more visa-free movement of persons, whether it's tourism, business community, etc. Those are the only issues that they were focused upon, and those are not insurmountable. I think they can be easily discussed and resolved. In fact, we looked at it very positively and said we would open up for a freer movement of the business community, for tourism, etc. But the overall atmosphere of the response that we heard from the CEOs, in particular, from the Korean side, was extremely positive and forward-looking, where they saw that India was an important partner, both for trade and investment. And it is in that context, and the fact that just in the last few years, in the last 3 years alone, out of $6.8 billion cumulative investment that has taken place from Korea, more than $3 billion have actually come in the last 3 years alone. That itself is a story. The fact that this Korean investment has added more than 100,000 jobs directly, quite apart from indirect creation of jobs. I think those are very important elements to note. And the fact that our trade has grown at a very high percentage. It has fluctuated in between, but the fact that it has maintained very high growth rates, I think all those three speak for itself. And it is in that context that President Moon felt that he would be able to achieve, that we'd be able to achieve that target of $50 billion, which I'm sure we should be able to. As far as specifically your questions on the railways, our ambassador in South Korea, Vikram Doraiswamy, will answer that. And so then you also explain on the early harvest.
Thank you. Just a couple of quick points. On railway cooperation, RDSO, the Railway Design and Standards Organization, has visited Korea at the behest of the railway minister who visited Korea himself in 2015. And the idea was to study the Korean model for high-speed railway, but also a variety of other railway technologies where Korea has strengths. This includes basically variable center of gravity, where the railway can the entire train can turn on a curve without being derailed easily. Increased safety standards, increased better signaling equipment, rolling stock. There are a number of Korean companies that are interested in this market. Korea has a very efficient high-speed railway system, and at comparatively good prices. So the Koreans are keen to get into the Indian high-speed railway market. And so this is the first step towards that, to get into a partnership between RDSO and the Korea Railroad Research Institute, KRRRA. So the intention is to start that part of the partnership and maybe move it down into something tangible. On the question of investment, as Secretary East just said, $3.5 billion has come in the past couple of years, actually, literally. In that, what is interesting to note is the scale at which it has come in. There is Kia Automotive, which is a sister company of Hyundai Motor. It's put in over $1 billion in Anantapur in Andhra Pradesh. It will produce 300,000 cars a year, starting from early next year. What this essentially means is by the time its full capacity is installed, of 300,000 plus 300,000, India will be the fourth largest market for production for Korea, for the Hyundai Motor Group. Similarly, Samsung, as Secretary said, 10 million smartphones a month will be produced. The current largest amount that Korea has, Samsung has, is in Vietnam, which is 1 million smartphones a week, which is essentially just under half of what this will be. So we're actually looking at a significant expansion of productive capacity in electronics, automobiles, but also in new sectors, which includes technical textiles and textiles, chemicals, even food processing. Korean asset management companies are also coming here to bring in money. The privately run MEA Asset Group has $3 billion in assets under management, making it the 16th largest player in just under 2 years. 5 years ago, they had practically no exposure into the Indian market. They had a small presence here. Today, they say it's their fastest growing business, and they say they're the fastest growing presence in the Indian market. So all of that adds to the point that an early harvest agreement, which means an early harvest of our comprehensive economic partnership agreement, which has 3 chapters, goods, services, and investment. We want to see progress in all 3. The original CEPA, which came into effect in 2010, had the space for us to expand the partnership, including through an early harvest where we would be able to draw upon certain quick wins. This early harvest covers 11 main commodity groups on the goods side, which gives us an opportunity to step up our exports in areas of particular interest to us. Agricultural commodities, primarily in marine products, where we have a significant market in the rest of the world, but not yet in Korea. And we have the standards and the quality to be able to export to the world's most sophisticated consumers of marine products. So this should be one big opportunity. Other agricultural products like maize and derivatives thereof. For the Koreans, there are other areas that they're interested in, including base oil, where some of these things will be discussed further. But broadly, we see an expansion of trade that, I'm hesitant to quote figures. But basically, this early harvest agreement should give us a significant capacity to step up the growth rate that is already underway. Last year, as Secretary alluded to this, something like 30% growth was recorded in the last 1 year in trade, 26% being our exports, which, considering our smaller export goods basket, this is a significant achievement. On that basis, I think it is reasonable to assume that in the next 12 years, we should be able to double trade. Thank you.
We will take the last round of questions. No, only this. This only relates to the visit of ROK President to India. Madhurendra?
सर, आपने रेलवे के संदर्भ में ये बात बताई कि हाई स्पीड रेलवे और ख़ास तौर पर जो कर्व करने की फैसिलिटी है विद द स्पीड और रोलिंग स्टॉक, इन तमाम चीज़ों में बातचीत हुई है। मैं जानना चाहूँगा कि जो हाई स्पीड रेलवे है, दरअसल भारत और कोरिया के बीच जो स्पेसिफिक आप बता रहे हैं, उसमें किस तरह के ट्रेन या रोलिंग स्टॉक लाने की बात हो रही है? हमारे जो एग्जिस्टिंग इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर है उस पर क्या कोरियन टेक्नोलॉजी के ट्रेन चल सकते हैं? थोड़ा डिटेल में इसको ज़रा बताएं।
Any other question? So this was the last question.
Well, that's a detailed question, and the leaders didn't get into specifics on this. इस विषय पर इस मुद्दे पे बातचीत हुई है between RDSO and their counterparts. As it happens, I attended that meeting in Korea, so I'm aware of what was discussed. Korea already has a presence in India in rolling stock. If you look at your metro lines, most of your metro lines have rolling stock provided by a company called Hyundai Rotem, which is a Korean company. It's in Delhi, it's in Bangalore, it's in Hyderabad. All these metros are Hyundai Rotem products. So rolling stock is already there. They have a partnership with Bharat Earth Movers Limited for quite some time. In terms of new technologies, this is what RDSO has to now finalize what technologies they want to adopt to the Indian market. But there is interest in these areas, as I said, safety equipment, better quality rolling stock, better quality signaling equipment, all of that. And of course, the prospect of discussing high-speed rail. For that, of course, the economics will be the most important question.
If there are no other questions, we conclude this special briefing. I thank Ma'am, Vikram and Pranay for coming to this briefing, and I thank you all for joining.